Welcome, and thank you for watching our Thursday update going into Friday. We're going to get you those updated daily expected moves because, wow, look how they work today. We go down to that daily expected move. Remember, our most probable situation we gave out at the end of the video yesterday actually stated, hey, this is the most probable thing to happen is to come back down to that daily expected move where you had a 68% chance to land up. Remember, we also discussed this week, hey, starting positions here is usually not a good idea, and it wasn't a good idea for anyone trying to do some day trading out there. That's a little bit rough because you're already starting to go underwater. So what are we looking at today? Well, we have VIX calling out another 85% chance for the next 2 trading sessions. Maybe you can put that together if you've been here for a little while, but just in case you can't, we are going to go over volatility at the end of this video. But first, we got to get you some updated daily expected moves and talk about the SPY, the Qs, and IWM to start things off. Let's go. So if you're wondering what we've been talking about, well, we've been talking about the fact that we've been messing around in this area for a long time, and we finally have seen a break that level, but we haven't seen a break that was deep enough to really send you far into negative territory. So we're doing a lot of work here to make sure there's not some kind of trick, some kind of trap, which if you've been a part of my channel for the past month or so, maybe a couple of months, I said all of this consolidation I think will end up being some kind of trap, and I think this will still end up to the upside. Now, I'm plenty fine being proven wrong. I haven't taken a position with the SPY just yet. I'm still waiting for the exact confirmation, which might be tomorrow morning with some of the things that we do talk about. Now, we do see here that this is still by that center line, so we're trying to do a lot of work in here. Once we start to actually see breakdowns, right, where you go into negative territory, things get pretty darn simple, right? We can see rolls, we see simple rolls like this on the MACD, but we haven't been in a negative trend for a long time. And sorry about the subscribe thing. I'll make sure to turn that off. But thank you so much for subscribing, AC. I appreciate you. But we got to turn that off for just a brief moment here. All right. Where's the alert box? There we go. We'll hide that for a little bit. Subscribe if you're not already, because that guy just did. And maybe he's thinking this information's helpful. That's the whole point of these videos. So let's get into the 2-hour chart and give you guys those daily expected moves. 689.28 to the upside, 673.34 to the downside. We got our 85% chance day. We did end up getting that down day. We were able to see us test into deeper areas. We were very close to dabbling with these areas, which I really didn't want to do. So hopefully we see some good things from the 30-minute chart. Now, as of right now, we are seeing that the 2-hour is still within striking distance of that positive territory, right? We are actually closer than this spot right over here. If you look at the MACD back then, we are within range, but in order for that 2-hour to confirm up and then start to squeeze or something like that, we're going to need those buyers to step up. So I think it's important to really do your homework on the 30-minute chart. But if that 2-hour chart does cross up, you would need to see a failure to start shouting stock market crash again. What do we notice here from the 30-minute? Well, what were we discussing? Well, early on in the week, before any of this, right, when this started to happen, what did I suggest I want to see here if this is some kind of trap? Well, I want to see some kind of divergence. I want to see some kind of squeeze that leads to the good structure to head higher and have price action on your side. But there was another scenario that you've heard me talk about a lot throughout the week that I was suggesting was actually very probable to happen today. And that was, we're going to see a move that does not get price action on your side by taking out this high, and then you make a sneaky higher low as you retest lower levels. When you do come down to the weekly expected move, you are very prone to see divergences and higher lows from this area. So it makes total sense. We had reached down there. We had the VIX giving us an 85% chance for a down day today and tomorrow. Well, that's done with now. And now it's shouting out something else. So make sure you stick around for the end of the video where we talk about volatility and say what the 85% chance is going into tomorrow and Monday. Now, why is this such a big deal for the bulls? This is going to be the attempt. This is going to be the attempt to try to say that this is a bear trap, right? I always said this, and people saying, hey, why won't you get bearish on this? And I go, because I keep seeing bear trap signals. If you want me to get really, really bearish, then stop showing me the bear trap signals. All I'm doing is paying attention to how those signals form. You can go throughout this entire week, and that's how I've talked about it. Hey, I'm looking for how this is going to form. If these things form, then then I have to react in some way. What was the thing I was talking about? The sneaky higher low, where it negates all the price action things over here and starts to create a positive trend of its own right here. It starts to make that high designated, starts to make the low designated, and then if we cross through, we confirm on this MACD what's very likely to happen, test the high, go make a new one. So your daily expected move for tomorrow, if you're able to see this 30-minute confirm and no kind of roll-in happens before, no failures or anything like that, then you would say test the high, go make a new one, and it's saying 689.28 is the level to watch. So we're really going to watch this level. Now, I don't think you necessarily want to come revisit these lows again. I think you want to see a nice breakout moment to really start heading to that upside. But why are we doing so much work on the 30-minute chart? Why are we pointing this out as it is not confirmed right now? Because we're trying to see if this 2-hour can curl up while it is still close to that center line. And what likes to curl up the 2-hour chart? 30-minute divergences and 30-minute higher lows. If this designates itself as some kind of higher low and confirms to the upside tomorrow morning, then we are likely to squeeze to something like 689.28. But as of right now, you are still crossed down on the 30-minute. As of right now, the 2-hour is still crossed down on that chart. So until that 30-minute gives me that solid confirmation on the MACD, I know it is lagging behind, but I am taking a 2-hour swing trade. I am not so I'm utilizing the 30-minute to potentially get into that play early before the 2-hour confirms. So I'll be watching this very closely. If the 30-minute confirms to the upside, okay, 689.28. If we want to fail this and not confirm that early on tomorrow, then we can roll all the way back down to a retest of these lows, which will be kind of scary because then you might not have the whole higher low scenario on your side, and we'll have to talk about that going into the weekend. Now, a huge point of argument for this situation being the most probable was the Qs. If you heard me, if you watched all the way to the end of the video, you heard me tie this into the Qs just very briefly. Why did I think it was very probable to see that 85% chance for a down day? Well, because Qs need to create structure. Why do I think this is a trap? Because Qs have price action on their side. The Qs here, we talked about the left head and right shoulder. We talked about squeezing up to this level and pulling back. They're not doing the sneaky higher low, starting their own little trend here, making a higher low and completely negating everything over here. No, they're working with this right now and trying to use it as liquidity. Now, we did not take care of that gap. I don't think we did, at least. I'll have to look on the daily chart. I believe we did not. But this right here is a big deal. You were able to see on the technical side, right, the price action side. Let me just slow down for a sec. The price action side is suggesting what? You had a high, you had a lower high, you had a low, you had a lower low, right? So you were in a downtrend theoretically, or kind of proven to you in the chart here. So if you wanted to switch that and start to head in that upward direction, well, then you had to take out the previous high. What did the Qs do here? They took out the previous high. They curled back down to create the good structure to get some kind of pullback to retest those buyers. Those buyers, as of right now, have stepped up, but I have not received that confirmation from the MACD just yet. Taking into consideration our indicators, our technical side here, what did this move cause to happen? We took back the 5-day for a brief moment. We have lost that, but we've taken it back by the end of the day. That's very nice. But the big deal for me is the MACD was able to make such a positive move that you heard me talking about the Qs and saying, hey, even if it wants to sell all the way down to that center line, right? See a solid day of selling. If that confirms back to the upside, what is the most probable thing to happen? Test the high, go make a new one. So paying attention to early tomorrow is going to be very important, and that'll be very, very fun to see what happens here, because as of right now, you have seen somewhat of a fake out directly down to the weekly expected move, but you have price action suggesting and your indicators suggesting with confirmation in the morning that we can test this high and go make a new one. Where would that be? 617.16 to the upside. Now, your 666 to the downside, we can still watch that. If we want to visit that very briefly to take care of a gap, that's perfectly fine. The big thing here is the 30-minute going to curl up while it's by the center line? Because if it's not able to curl up, that is technically pointing down right now. And if the 2-hour chart's able to confirm down for the Qs, you have to treat it as very risky. How do we go down to deeper prices? If you watch any kind of downtrend, you will see the 2-hour able to go negative in some way, get some kind of bounce that fails. We do not want this to fail. If you are a bull in this area, if you're a bear, you're hoping it fails because you do not have confirmation that the Qs are failing this move right now, but you do have a solid setup with price action for upside, and with confirmation tomorrow, it might even be a nice play to 617.16. Now, remember, Patreon members, we do give out all the daily expected moves for the stocks on your right side of your screen right now. We give them away for pretty much everything down there to JP Morgan. So we'll give those away. I have to calculate them right after this video. As of right now, the risky one, weirdly enough, the one that looks the scariest was the one that tested those lower parts. I don't like IWM. I will not take a play on IWM now because of how it looks. It's too far from the center line. It's further than the SPY. The Qs haven't crossed down, so they look a little bit better. IWM is deeper, so that means it is riskier in my book. Now, riskier can mean more money if you're right, but I'm just not willing to dabble with that. I don't think I have enough of an edge. 261.31 for the daily expected move, 252.21. I will still treat it very seriously because I know some individuals might choose to trade this. The 30-minute chart you notice was not actually, something you could talk about here that we never really talk about. There is something that I don't utilize very often. I don't take plays off of it. I don't even use it to sound smart or anything like that most of the time, but I will point it out at this point. You do have forms of what people would call like a hidden divergence, I believe. I'm not the biggest fan of these. I've never played them, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but you do have a form of that. But the big thing for me, my analysis on this, if you're hearing anyone say hidden divergence, that's why I brought it up. My analysis on this is we are further from going into a positive trend. That's kind of scary. That means that the more probable thing here, according to your indicators can be different from the price action. By the way, we'll go over price action in a moment, but your indicators are suggesting that this is very deep. So you want to really be paying attention for a test of that 5-day and potentially a roll down to deeper prices. I think you need to be watching for that. I think that's very critical for when it comes to solely IWM at this point. But IWM's been some great hints. Now, price action can differ. As of right now, the highs have been lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low. But wait a second. If this carves itself out and is able to go make a new high, it would suggest that we can be going into more of a positive trend. So I think that IWM, especially if it wants to prove that it's going to go bullish, which right now I don't think it is, proving that. I don't see anything in this to really say like, oh yeah, this is a trade with a large edge or anything like that. You would want to take out this previous high. I think you would want to say, okay, this is going to be its own little thing, and we're going to negate what's going on here, just like we talked about with the SPY and the sneaky higher low. I think if you can carve this out as a higher low and see a nice squeeze, then IWM can come back. But that's a lot of thinking. That's a lot of hope. That's a lot of things going on there. So overall, I'm more paying attention to the SPY and the Qs right now, and I think IWM's a little bit riskier. But like I said, sometimes people are different than me. They like to trade a little bit riskier things. Hey, if you're able to take on a little bit more risk, sometimes you get a little bit more reward. But I would just be cautious with IWM. Let's talk about the VIX. The VIX, the daily chart still curled up, right? Still positive in positive territory. That means risk is high here. I want to keep saying that in these videos. We are looking for something in here that can tell us that this coming down is very probable. And then after that, we're still going to have to pay attention to higher lows. But we can really pay attention to this. We can see, if you want to head to the upside, a good thing for this daily to do would be go like this. That would be very, very nice. But we'll talk about that as it comes to fruition, as the market starts to prove itself more, because as of right now, this thing's pointing to the sky. Look at that MACD just pointing up. That's not necessarily a good thing for bulls, right? But if this is able to fail, if we're able to catch those signals that say this might top out, that can be a nice bottom for the SPY. We'll see. The VIX, the big thing here, we're going to look at the 2-hour chart. We're looking for those 2-hour hints that can tell us if this is highly probable to cross down. But what do you have for the volatility index? What is it calling for the next 2 trading sessions? You have an 85% chance to see an up day in the SPY in the next 2 trading sessions. That would be Friday and Monday. We are up by over 10%. You see the 12.39% over here in green. Just like yesterday, we were down by more than 10%. That gave us the high probability for a down day. Okay, now it's switched, and now we have a high probability for an up day in the next 2 trading sessions. That doesn't have to be some kind of mega squeeze. It can be a fading day. It can be anything like that. It just means a positive day can happen here, and that's based on the historical data from the volatility index. So if we do our homework in here, maybe we could be a part of that high probable play. what do we need to see here from volatility, right? What did I suggest I want to see from volatility in order to give me a hint? Is the daily chart highly probable to cross down? Well, what I want to see from volatility is a divergence. You've seen me draw this all week, or some kind of lower high. If that lower high wants to take place right now, we want to get that update, then the 2-hour chart can confirm down. We can squeeze up for the market, but we'll see if that's going to take place, because as of right now, what I like to do is look at the 2-hour chart. How probable do I see any hints that the 2-hour chart can cross down? Well, I utilize the 30-minute. Yes, I like to use multiple time frames if you haven't noticed, if you're new here, but the 30-minute chart is still in a positive trend. So here's what it kind of says here. The risky thing, the good thing for bulls would be if the 2 hour is able to cross down. That'd be great. And it's not able to just whip right back up. Always got to be trading like water. The 30-minute is not suggesting that the 2 hour crossing down is highly probable yet. It is still in a positive trend. Even if we wanted to see some kind of bounce here, we can still just dink off of this area, that 2151. And then I would like to see some kind of divergence right here. I think that would be fantastic to give us 2 hints. It would give us the hint on the 30-minute chart. It would give us the hint on the 2-hour chart, possibly even confirming with a high probability. So we're watching this very carefully, but the 30-minute for volatility is suggesting we have more time to spend at these levels. But we always trade based on what the market is proving. So if the market is able to confirm on the 30-minute chart here, it still is a confirmation of a higher low, and we can extend that move to 689.28 and look for failures, right? All of this information is to try to gain an edge for potential trades, right? So if I take that into consideration and I make a decision, I always want to have that plan for if it goes wrong. Why would I especially be mentioning a plan for if it goes wrong right now? Because volatility on the 30-minute is saying, hey, I'm not giving you any hints that I'm going to completely fall through the floor. I don't have a 30-minute divergence. I don't have a 30-minute lower high. So if I take an upward play here for the SPY, I have to have that recognition. I have to have a plan for if things go wrong. Hey, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for liking, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos, and I just hope that they continue to be helpful. And I appreciate all the love and the emails that I've been getting lately, just expressing how grateful people are to be learning some of this information, and it's fantastic to hear. Hey, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.